Hi, I'm Bart Hanson, the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
So I just want to run a hand by you. I think this is the hand that I'm a newer poker player, and I think we miss a lot of value. So I just want to run this by you. I have very first hand. We all sit down, 300 max buy-in, 1-3.
Okay.
And small blinds, I have queen 10 of diamonds. Hijack opens for 10. It folded to him, sorry. Then it folds to me. I call 9 more. And big blind folds.
So you have tens in the small blind?
No, queen 10 of diamonds.
Oh, I'm sorry. So hijack opens to 10. Hero has queen
10 diamonds.
Queen diamonds in the small blind and call. Okay. Yep.
And flop is jack of diamonds, 8 of hearts, 3 of hearts.
So you flop a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw.
Correct.
Uh-huh.
And I check, and villain bets 10.
Okay.
I call from just what you were saying, backdoor gutter. The
backdoor diamond. Well, you have a gutter and a backdoor diamonds.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So hero checks, V1 bets 10.
10.
And hero calls. Okay.
Turn, obviously bingo, 9 of spades.
Okay.
Right, now, at this point, I check. Obviously, I'm thinking he's going to put me on a flush draw. He bets 15. And I just call.
Wow, this seems to be a very, very. We're seeing a lot of people call with big hands on the turn here on these phone calls today. But what's your plan though? I mean, I thought you were going to ask me whether or not you should lead the turn, and I've talked about it a couple times that at the higher levels of poker, it would be very odd and bizarre to just come out and bet the turn. But I really feel like at the lower levels of poker, you can just bet the turn. The thing about this is that this guy seems pretty weak with his sizing. I mean, he bet 10 on the flop. He's betting 15 on the turn, sort of on draw-heavy boards. But if you check the turn and he bets, you have to check raise because are you going to call and then just bet the river?
No. And here's my thinking as to what I was doing. What I actually did is in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to call this. He's going to think I'm on hearts, and I'm praying to God a heart doesn't flop on the river. And then, of course, the river comes, best card in the deck. It was a 2 of clubs.
Okay.
So what my plan is I'm checking river. Oops, I missed my flush. He's going to bet, which he did. He bet 25.
Okay.
So my plan is to check raise the river when a heart doesn't fall. Sorry to answer your question.
Yeah, but the problem there's two problems with that I feel like is that you would be, if you're kind of a newer player, you'll notice this, that people will just check back way too many hands at this level for you to be getting to the river with the nuts to try to go for a river check raise. I mean, there are certain spots that you can do that but even in the games that I play, the only times that I really go for a river check raise is when I feel like my opponent also has a strong hand, or he can be bluffing, or he'll make thin value bets, and the best way to play the hand is to check the river. But at 1-3, people would check back here ace-jack. Some people will check back kings, queens. It's sort of weird, though. I didn't even think you were going to get bet on the river because the sizing doesn't really indicate a lot of strength from this guy. A lot of times people at these levels will bet very large with their strong hands. But you can't take a nut hand and hope to get a check raise on the river. Like you said, you got to get lucky that a heart doesn't come off anyways. The board's jack 8-3-9, okay? So any heart, like you said, is a scare card, right? How about all the other scare cards? A 7, a 10, a queen. You're talking about dodging half the deck. You got one of the cards that's the biggest blank on the river. But then, like I said, the rate of somebody betting the river, even with like overpairs, isn't that high. You've got to get more money in the pot, whether that's a turn lead or a check raise on turn.
What's the best, turn lead or check raise on turn?
Well, I would probably just bet the turn. And the reason why I would just come out and bet the turn is because his flop c-betting size doesn't really indicate a whole lot of strength at this level. Um, if he had bet like 20 and the turn was a 9, you might go for a check raise on the turn. Um,
But on the
but
flop, I mean, he's only betting 10, but the pot's only 20. He's betting half pot. So he's
yeah,
not
but it's people
like
don't really look at the pot size though. It's more of the absolute size at that level. And I see it
right.
all the time. He's not saying, "Oh, I'm going to bet 50% of the pot." It's just sort of small. Just like when on the opposite end of that, when the pot's very large, when somebody bets 500 into 1,000 in a 5-5 game, well, that's half pot too, but that's a really big bet though. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not. It's not.
Right.
So when the pot's really small, that's a really small bet, not just 50%. It's the exact opposite. So whether you check the turn or bet the turn, you got to put some money in on the turn. So, anyways, you check the river. The guy does bet.
He does bet small,
Okay.
25.
Uh huh.
And then obviously I raised. I meant to make it 75, but my stack was dirty. I made it 70. And he thought for, I don't know, a second and a half, 2 seconds, said, what was it, 45 more? And then looked confused and just picked up 45 and threw it in.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously he rolled my hand over, and then he rolled over queens.
Queens for an
So,
overpair. So like I said though,
yeah,
like you're not. I feel like you got a little bit lucky that the guy even bet the river. The other thing that I
right,
forgot to add is that if somebody is actually betting thinly on the river, then they're probably capable of folding to a large raise at the end. So what I say is that a lot of people will check back the river with value hands that they should bet, and the reason why they do that is because they don't want to face a raise. So maybe they've lost in the past, and they don't want to make a bet with queens on the river because what's going to I hear people say it at the table, what will happen if he raises me? If I bet and he raises, what am I going to do? So they'll just check it back. When in fact, the best play, of course, is to
right,
bet. And then if somebody raises you, most of the time fold because no one's ever really raising the river, check raising the river at these levels as a bluff. But if this guy is betting this hand, which is obviously a bet, but it's thin for this level, then it
right.
sounds to me like he might be actually capable of folding if you raise large. Um,
Okay.
but you would have made more money by check raising turn or leading turn, and actually I think that you
Yeah.
got pretty lucky of the run out too, and the fact that this is the type of player that will actually bet queens at the end. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA100. Click on the link right there.